quickly with that like hand, it's like a hand-eye like boob coordination thing, baby. Like that sounds kind of ridiculous, but today I'm sharing with you 5 tips and insights on breastfeeding, especially if you're struggling, because let's be honest, mamas, it ain't easy. So stay tuned. Okay, hey beautiful mama, welcome back to A Mom for Every Season. If you're brand new, my name is Taryn and I am a mom of 3. I'm so excited for today's video because it is, I guess, my first individual collaboration, and this video is going to be in collaboration with Mikaila over at Mikaila Renee. So definitely check out her channel and subscribe to her when you finish this video. I'll insert some clips here, and I also invite you to check out her Instagram. I follow her on there and I love following her. She just had a brand new baby, so she's a mama of 4, and I'm sure she has so much wisdom to share with you too. So check her video out after this one. Okay, so before I jump into my 5 tips, I'm just going to share with you just a little bit of my breastfeeding journey, and of course I'll kind of share you more backstory as we go along. I find it's always helpful and insightful to hear other moms' journeys because it, especially if you're struggling, it just gives you that little bit of hope. So I breastfed all 3 of my children. I'm actually still nursing my youngest. She is just, oh, this is really bad because I forget how old she is because she's my 3rd child. But she is 15 months, so I'm still nursing her. I mean, it's obviously she's eating now, so it's not like she's nursing all the time, but she still does it a little bit for comfort and at night. And I did breastfeed the other 2 as well. I think going into breastfeeding, and if you're a first-time mom or a first-time, maybe you're a 2nd or 3rd time mom experiencing breastfeeding for the first time, there is a huge learning curve, and it's not like they come out of the womb like ready to like latch, and I mean some babies do, but it does have like a huge learning curve. So the first tip is to give yourself grace, and it's kind of a 2-part tip to trust the process, because breastfeeding is not easy. And I don't say that to scare you or to make it sound negative, but that it has a huge learning curve. And I remember when I was the first-time mom with my first, she actually had a tongue tie and wasn't able to nurse for the first, I think it was the first week she had to have bottles. And at that point, of course, I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, like I'm not gonna be able to breastfeed her, it's not gonna work out, I'm gonna have low milk supply, like I won't be able to nurse her for as long as I want, and like why aren't I getting this? It's just not working. I nursed her till she was 2, so if I could go back to my past mom self and tell her, I would tell her, you are doing a wonderful job and it will all work out for the way it's meant to. So just understand too that every baby is different and every mama is different. So of course my first one was the hardest. There was a bigger learning curve for my part, but then she was also learning too. My son was super easy to nurse. Like he literally came out of the womb and he just knew what to do. I can't even explain it. It's just, it was so easy. And of course I didn't have that huge learning curve, so it was so much easier. With my 3rd, my youngest daughter, it was like a little bit of a learning curve for her, and it was kind of like, I don't know, I almost forgot a little bit, but what it was like to nurse a newborn, because my son nursed till he was 18, I think he was 18 months, so I was pregnant with my daughter, so it was like I kind of almost remembered what it was like to nurse him, because of course by then he's pretty much latching himself. And again, like once your baby is, like I can't remember the exact age, like it could be 4 months, could be 6 months, every baby is different, they're pretty much latching themselves. So to get just over that hump of that learning curve for both of you, like it gets easier, I promise. I heard this analogy about how breastfeeding is kind of like dating. Like sometimes, some moments are gonna be like excruciating and you know, you'll feel like it's not worth it. You just need to work on the compatibility of it. Sometimes your baby will catch on, sometimes you'll catch on a little bit, and then it's like harmonized breastfeeding. It will be so much easier. When you get into that type of frame of mind, just remember that you got this and it will all work out. Even just focusing on your breathing, trying to relax a little bit more. because when you can relax, then of course your milk supply will come in easier and you'll feel better. I've done a couple of visualizations to help with overwhelm and worry, mom worry, those mom traps we're in. So if you want to check those out, I can put those in the description box down below as well too. And they've really helped me in kind of all stages of motherhood, not just breastfeeding, but just focus on your breathing and try and reframe those negative kind of mom traps that you can kind of start in. If anything, if you get out of this tip, is just to have hope and again, trust that process. It will all work out for the way it is. So tip number 2 is to trust your instincts. And if you feel like there's something not quite right, don't be afraid to ask your doctor or go to a lactation consultant. Now, luckily with my first, she had a tongue tie, and luckily the nurse, the day after she was born, knew what it was and knew why I was struggling. So if you are struggling with something or struggling with breastfeeding and it's really hurting, that maybe ask your doctor if your baby has a tongue tie or ask if there's something else going on. With that being said, if you feel like breastfeeding is just taking a huge toll on you, understand that there is no shame or guilt if you have to bottle feed or breastfeed. Give yourself permission to do that if you feel like that's the right thing to do. Or if you feel like you want to continue breastfeeding, then do that. Do what your instincts say. I know it might seem hard, in the moment, and it does get easier. But if there's something just not working out, then trust, again, coming back to trust the process and trusting your instincts, because you're the mom and you know what's best for baby. And at the end of the day, a fed baby is a happy baby, and fed baby is best, of course. To go along with tip number 2, also to keep in mind that if that latch is hurting, it's okay to break it. And if you have to latch your baby 5 times in one sitting, that's okay. Because you're learning and baby's learning, and it's not meant to feel painful, and it takes practice. So do it over again if you have to. Do it 10, do it like 20 times in one sitting if you have to, until it feels comfortable for you. I know it's kind of like hard when baby is really upset. So of course, you need to try and look for the cues before they're really mad, because by then it just stresses you out, stresses baby out. But just know that it gets easier. Tip number 3 kind of is another, again, these are 2-part ones, but if you are dealing with engorgement, I know for me personally, this is gonna sound so weird and so trippy, but cabbage roll leaves were my savior. It was, I remember once my milk came in with all 3 of my babies, it was so painful. Sometimes the engorgement was worse than the actual breastfeeding. It was the most difficult time. And I found out about cabbage leaves when I had my second. And literally I put them on the one night, and by the next morning I felt so much better. And when you put the cold leaves on your boobs, it feels so good. And I have no idea what they do to you, what they do. If you are struggling with engorgement and you are having an issue with breastfeeding, try that, give it a try. I'd love to know how it goes. Let me know in the comments down below. And another thing, if you are dealing with the opposite end of low milk supply, just know that the more you nurse, the more your boob and your body is gonna know to produce more milk. So with my first, I had to bottle feed her for the first week of her life, and here is just kind of another side story, but I hated pumping, hated it. By the end of that week, I was just so done with pumping, and I tried to pump anytime that she would eat, and then my husband would take the bottle. I felt like pumping kind of took the intimacy and the bonding out of nursing, and I hated it. I remember crying and being so upset, I didn't want to pump. And then that's when I kind of also got into that overwhelm and worry, and am I ever going to be able to breastfeed my baby? And of course it all worked out. To fix that, I ended up, once I had a little bit of milk reserve, I ended up just holding her while I pumped, and that kind of brought back more of the intimacy and bonding. So if you are struggling with pumping and hating it, maybe try holding your baby while you do it. It takes a little bit of coordination, of course. It felt so much better, and I kind of finally got to start, you know, bonding with my baby, my new baby. Okay, tip number 4 is to try different things. Try different positions, try different holds, try propping your baby on a nursing pillow or just a regular pillow. Whatever you have, you could try sideline. There's just so many options. I remember with my first, actually with both my daughters, I remember they would just nurse better sitting up. So I figured out, I propped them, when they were really little, I propped them up on pillows, and I just figured out how to nurse them that way, and it was so much better. And I could get them to latch better, and whereas like my son, he just he just did the normal breastfeeding hold, and it was fine. Figure out what works best for you and baby. That's what it really comes down to at the end of the day. Okay, tip number 5 is newborns nurse a ton. Like, you are gonna go through thoughts of,
am I feeding them enough? Are they gaining enough weight? Like, am I doing this right? Is this correct? Why are they nursing so much? Like,
the list goes on, but just know that they nurse a ton, especially at the newborn stage. And they will get to the point where it's, you know, a little bit more routine and consistent. So just go in with that open mind that they are gonna nurse, and you're gonna be stuck sitting on the couch, which feels like forever sometimes. So maybe read a book, catch up on sleep, maybe if you can sideline and nurse them, or watch some TV. Because yes, there is gonna be a lot of couch sitting, and don't worry about cleaning those dishes or vacuuming or whatever that is. Like, your house can wait. And I know it's gonna feel really hard not being able, because you'll feel like you're not being productive, but your only job as a mom in the first couple months is just to take care of that little one and snuggle with them. And I think now, compared from when I had my first to my third, where like the first couple months I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just snuggle this little baby because she is my last baby, and I gave myself full permission not to even worry about anything else other than nursing and snuggling her. Whereas like when I had my first and I was a first time mom, I just, remember feeling like I'm such a failure. Like, I don't feel like I'm doing this right, and my house is a total disaster. And
okay, and now for that freebie that I mentioned earlier, I have included a free printable of Breastfeeding Affirmations, because one, I'm a huge fan of affirmation cards, and our words and our mindset are so powerful. And it is so important in motherhood that we focus on what we want, and it trains our brain to look for the positive.
what else? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed those tips. Let me know in the comments down below, what are you struggling with, or what did you struggle with breastfeeding, or what did you love about breastfeeding, and what is your favorite part? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, and if you're brand new, I would love for you to stick around. I post videos on motherhood and embracing the season, and just motivation and inspiration for all moms. Don't forget to check out Mikaila's video after this one. I'm really looking forward to checking out her video after this. I also invite you to come over to Instagram and follow me there under the same name, A Mom Forever Season. If you are already following me, you'll know that I posted when I did this video, I posted kind of a work with me Wednesday, and just a little secret, only half of my hair is curled right now, because if you watch that Instagram story, you'll know that my left side of my hair never curls. I don't get what it is. So, but anyway, that's totally regardless. Okay, and in case no one has told you this already today, I want to just say that you are an amazing mom, and you got this, mama. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.